Back, and as you can see from the title, let me unzip this. It was a little chilly outside, so I put on my winter clothes. We're talking Talislanta because my core book showed up. Now, I had to immediately send off a message and ask where the rest of my stuff was because, as usual, I ordered the Adventurers thing, which is the core book and the PDF and the STLs. But then I also did the highest level, which should be another core book, GM book, and monster book in a slipcase. And so I got this today, much thicker than any of the older Talislanta books. I don't know if it's the paper or what. It's full color. I'll show you. But haven't got the slipcase, which even comes with a book on how to convert Talislanta to 5e. Not that I ever would, because I mean that's just crazy talk, right? I'm on Restream because if any of the bros happen in and have any questions about Talislanta, I want to be able to be like, yeah, sure, I can look that up, man. Whatever. So, yeah. This should be broadcasting out onto YouTube. So I got my epic, they're calling it alien fantasy role playing. And I got a special die that you can only get from them. And the weird thing, well, hey, what's up, Jim Cody? As all the Talislanta people know, you only need a die 20 to play the game. That's it. Good evening to you. Yeah, I ordered some Chinese, even though I'm not really hungry. So I don't know if I'm going to jump right on it when it gets here or let it sit for a while. But so I should be getting the sleeve with the 3 books. Like I said, I sent Setchi an email and I'm like, hey, if you look at my Kickstarter backer from, I don't know, almost 2 years ago or so, it's been a long time, you'll notice that I did 2 Kickstarters. I did the basic one to get the book, and I did the big one. So didn't get the big one, got the basic one. However, I'm going to tell you right now, it looks pretty good. I mean, it looks like it's got, I can't tell if that's stitched or just glued. No, that's stitched. So it's stitched, full color, which isn't that big of a deal to me. But they did add, well, first off, a map of the city of Cimmeral, which is really good because most of the time, if you're trying to get D&D players to play this game, you're going to want them to start in the city of Cimmeral, in what used to be the 9 or 7 kingdoms, but is now the 9 kingdoms, because the history has advanced a little bit, and apparently the rise of the wild men has caused a bunch of problems. So now the Jakar and the Danuvias are part of the 7 kingdoms, making it 9 kingdoms. So yeah, you got that. Hey, what's up, Bear? And then on the back, of course, you've got your big old map. And if you look really close, it's actually North America, except the swamps where Mexico would be attached, and then you can see where Florida would be attached. You can see where New England would be. Most of Canada is gone. So is this the distant past, or I would say the far future? Since there is technology. Yeah, there's 9 kingdoms. The Jaka, or the cat people, they got ran out of their area, and the Gnomekin of Dern were all like, "Hey, you can live up there because we never go up there. We always stay down here, right?" So the Jackal were like, "Bro, right?" So it's like the Kingdom of Dern, which has always been, is all the underground place where the Gnomekin live, and then everything above it is no, this ain't YouTube Studio. I can actually invite people, which I didn't do because I was whatever. But everything above ground of where the gnomes live is the Jacka's kingdom. So that's kind of cool. And like I said, if you're trying to get D&D players to play this game, I think the best bet would be to start everyone off in the 9 kingdoms, you know? So they're either a Gnomekin, a Cimmerillion, Taz, so, you know, Thrall, you know, Danuvians, which are just darker skinned humans that are good at sword fighting and stuff. Astari, the Casimir, the ones that can never learn magic, but they got 2 brains. I think that's who that is. No, that's the Sindar. Yeah, the Gnomekin are pretty rad. And of course, just like every other edition of this game, they have all of the different templates. And while the worshippers of Ah are like, I think they're so cool, like the Amanian warrior cleric and whatever. They're just not really good unless everyone in the group is playing one, because otherwise they're going to be that pain in the ass paladin that hates everyone and thinks everyone else is a heretic, and it's just going to cause a lot of problems, especially if somebody wanted to play like, you know, their arch nemesis from Zahir or whatever. And then, you know, you're going to have player PvP right off the bat. So the first thing the book does is, for some reason, show you a copy of the 2nd edition with the Thrall, which I have many painted Thralls because I 3D printed all the STLs. But then I also went looking at WizKids miniatures, and I found that the Goliath, apparently Goliath males don't have any body hair. So I actually bought like a couple packs, different ones, of Goliath barbarians and fighters, because they're big, they're completely hairless, you know, so the armor and everything. They have added a lot of rules in this book. Windship rules, windship maneuvering, windship combat, disease and afflictions, mass combat. I mean, so, and then they've got the original from, like, this used to be in like Dragon magazine. You'd be like reading the Dragon magazine, and there'd always be that page where it'd be like, come on, get it right. Boom. And you're muted. There you go. So
Cody, get your butt in here, and you two are going to sell me on Talislanta. You're going to convince me that this is a setting in a game I should play.
Oh God, probably not.
Be surprised. I love the system.
Yeah, the system is amazing, and this is the epic, which is supposed to be the let's see, original Talislanta, set in a world of twin suns and 7 moons. Yeah, that's the thing. So the New Age, okay, that's a thing. The subhuman uprising. So apparently this is a couple hundred years since Talisian, or what, Tamerlane, wandering around. You've got the 9 kingdoms, formerly the 7 kingdoms, and it talks about, and then there's a lot of like art. And that's good because this really is kind of an alien world. And if you don't have like a lot of art, then you're going to be like, WTF? There's the map in the book.
Nice map.
Yeah, it's the same map as it's always been, except
Oh,
they've
it
changed
looks
a couple things.
I had the version of Talislanta I had was the one with the thrall, but the
Second
colorful,
edition.
the one that was like really colorful.
Yeah, second edition.
Yeah, that's the one I had.
Well, one
Years.
thing that changed is the Quan Empire is now the Kang Empire.
The Quan Empire is now the Kang Empire.
Yeah, the Quan were kind of the fat guys that ruled the empire, and the Kang were like their army.
Okay.
Well, at some point between 100 years ago and 100 years now, the Kang decided just to kick the shit out of the Quan and take over the empire. Because, they were the military anyway.
Sure.
So that's a change. And the 7 kingdoms are the 9 kingdoms. Somebody's ringing the door. Yeah, it's probably the food, babe. So, I mean, it's got your list of attributes. Nothing changed. It's got your picture of a thrall. And like I said, if you're worried about using miniatures for this, a lot of the Goliath figures out there are hairless and big and bald. So pretty much any Goliath, if you paint it colorful, would my dog's out barking at the delivery driver. Yeah. Wife left dinner up to me, so I ordered her some Chinese. It's got the different poisons in it, magic orders. Because in this game, there's really 4 classes. You can be a fighter primary, mage secondary, a mage, or a mage primary, fighter secondary. You see what I mean? And then depending on which one's your primary versus your secondary, that really depends on how your character can advance and, different skills and all that sort of thing. So, and it is a skill-based game, so it's wide open as far as
what level did you back at for their crowdfunder?
The first one to get the book, and then the last one to get the slip cover and all the other stuff.
Jesus Christ!
I backed both.
Nice, but man, that was not cheap.
Nah. So anyway, yeah, the paper in the book is really good, and of course, it still has that same chart.
Yeah, no, those books are beautiful, dude. I'm looking at the pictures of them on
that you roll on. It's like, you roll your die 20, and it lets you know whether you get, partial successes, partial failures, mishaps. And then it's got a little list of possible magical mishaps. Like the caster teleports to a random location.
Is it still using the Omni system?
It uses the same roll a die 20 and compare it to a chart.
Yeah.
Yep. It's the same system. And so your attributes are not measured in numbers like in D&D. They're measured in bonuses and penalties. Mm-hmm. So here is a couple of the characters you've seen. Like, this is new. The Abyssinian, that's new. But he is basically, it looks like a fighter primary, mage secondary. And the idea of this guy is the Amanian archmages and inquisitors captured a heretic and pretty much tortured him into being one of them. And then they send the Abyssinian heretics out to kill people that have angered the church. Like I said, probably not something you would ever want in a group unless everyone was playing a man-in. Because these guys are assholes. They are my favorite bunch, but they are assholes.
Nice. What edition is this?
This would be 6.
Already up to 6th edition.
The ultimate already. I mean, it's been around for like 40 years.
Yeah, but there wasn't a need to make multiple editions of it. It was really good out of the gate, wasn't it?
I would say, yeah, first and second edition were amazing. The thing with this, I think, is the main thing you're buying is the art and the cleaned up rules. They've kind of cleaned up the rules a little bit to make Magic a little bit more understandable for some people. Did we annex Canada yet? We don't want to annex Canada, George. If we annexed Canada, that would mean we'd have a bunch of Canadians voting, and they've put Trudeau in office for like 8 years, so we don't need that.
It's 10, but anyway.
10, even worse. So we don't need people who vote that way in our elections. Let's leave them up in the frozen north and let them deal with their own shit.
Cool. Well, I think Talislanta looks interesting.
And like this is a player character race you can play. The Hazu from the swamps. They're 4-armed, and their penalty, you could say, their bonuses, they double attack. But their penalty
in the green room, sir.
Huh?
Letholdus is in the green room.
Their penalty is that if they kill something, they got to make a willpower check to not eat it. And they're also cannibals. So they will eat other sentient creatures. How you doing, Leth?
Oh, good.
And of course, the blue area ranger. So there you go. Like the green ones are the magic users, and the blue ones are more the fighters.
So the green ones are. Go on.
No, that's it. It's the green ones do most of the fighting. The blue or magic. The blue ones do most of the fighting, and they have the ability to glide. And if they have bracers of levitation, it's unlimited range. And then it says on the character gear they start with, the first thing, bracers of levitation. Mm-hmm. So they can glide for, infinite range. But pretty much, yeah, the green ones are the mages, the blue ones are the fighters. But they all live kind of together. So there's that. And you did get Buden. I don't know what Buden.
Biden. He means Biden.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. Talislanta has always been awesome. What's up, Shark? It always has, and I'm showing off the new players book. I'm still waiting for my slips covered, with the other two.
I got to go make supper, boys, but it was fun to bounce in and just talk a little bit with you.
All right. I'll catch you later.
Bye.
Oh.
Like, I like these guys. These are a cool player class. The Eremites. They kind of have grayish skin. And you've got, like, the Knife Fighter. And then you've got the Revenant. And the Revenant is like a straight-up assassin. Whereas the Knife Fighter is really good at throwing knives and all that sort of thing. That's one of the best things about the this book is just the amazing art. Which is all based off the original art, but, And you can play some really weird stuff, but I think most of the characters, if I run the game, are going to be like this. They're going to be from some really, like my wife said that she would play a mage fighter type, I think she said. And that would basically be like a Cimmerillion sword mage.
I want to be a pirate.
Well, pirate is a job. It's not a.
I want to be a swashbuckler.
Anything could be a swashbuckler. Like the Cimmerillion Sword Mage, they automatically start the game with the skill to pilot a wind ship. Because in this game, a couple of the different city states actually build flying ships.
What if I want a flintlock and a saber?
There's no gunpowder weapons. Sabers are a thing. And I do got a class that are pirates, actually. If you don't mind being a furry, the Baratus Wind Pirate.
No, that's not what I'm looking for. Dang it.
I mean, yeah, they basically, adventurers wouldn't do this, but these guys, they pretty much cruise around on wind ships attacking other wind ships. So yeah, they're pirates. But like you could say, you could start with like any career and be all like, I'm going to be a pirate. Okay. You know, it's like saying, I want to be an assassin. Well, guess what? Buy the
Anybody can be an
assassination
assassin.
skill and you will be an assassin if you can get hired to do it. But assassination is a skill that you can buy. So, yeah, the sword mage starts with 1 magical order at +2 skill level, swordsmanship at +2 skill level, lore arcane +1, pilot windship +1, and begins the game with spangler armor painted green or yellow, a +1 longsword, that's nice, a short sword, a cloak of green spin effects, leather and silver bound spell book, and a pouch. And die 20 times 3 gold lumens from the 9 kingdoms, which are actually worth 5 gold pieces a piece. Because it says it starts with gold in gold pentacles. That's the currency of the 7 kingdoms, pentacles. So, yeah. Yeah, Talislanta is kind of like, well, like I said, if you look at the map of Talislanta, you can tell it's North America. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, it's North America, except there's 7 moons and 2 suns. And also are there vampires? No. Not in the sense you would think of. Then if you're into furries or not furries, there's the Danalik Hunter. Let me get him in there. And the Darkling Thief. And Darkling Thieves are short little bastards with soup gray to black skin. They basically would be like a kobold. And they suck at everything except stealing.
So they're usually something that you'd want to kill and play.
Yeah, these would be like if you're going to an area to raid like a crypt or something.
You'd want one with you?
Yeah, you would either want one with you or you'd be fighting and killing them.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Duna, Warlock, or / Witch Woman.
Oh.
And the Jaffa. Now, behind the mask, the Jaffa looks like a human, but they think that if somebody looks at your face, it's like taboo. So anytime they're like not in their own private tent with their wife or something, they always wear a mask. They're from the desert kingdoms. They're wiry build, brown skin, dark hair and eyed, up to 6 feet tall, up to 160 pounds. And their skills, they get a lot of skills. Dagger +1, short bow, mounted.
Yeah, the art is really good in that book, it looks like.
What?
The art in your book that you've been reading.
Oh, the art in this book is amazing. I am really impressed with that. Now, these are NPCs, but for some reason they show them in the. I think it's because it's like they're NPCs, but if the DM is crazy, they could be like, okay, fine, you can play one of these. But these are basically part of the Beastmen, and they hate the more civilized creatures, like the Ebonite Soul Trader. Like, what DM's going to let a player play that?
Nobody. That's
Like,
stupid.
literally, you're a wraith.
Yeah, would you let somebody play a
6'6" to
wraith?
7'6", weightless, but they weigh up to 160 pounds if they choose to be corporal.
Hey James,
Yeah.
for AD&D, let me play a Revenant Paladin.
Right? I don't think there are revenants in AD&D.
Ah, fair
You've got
enough.
the Farad merchant. See, if you wanted to play a pirate, starting out as a Farad guy, they live in the desert. So basically, their closest counter thing would be like Arabs.
Yeah, Arab pirate. Yeah, that'd be an Arab
And,
pirate.
you've got your merchants and stuff like that. They travel around trading and doing their thing. If you want to be a furry, you can play a Farron, which is just a little ratman.
I just want to play Captain Jack Sparrow. That's all.
Yeah. The ratmen pretty much suck at everything except being a thief. And their being a thief is really good because on a die 20, they get to add from their attribute, not even counting skills, +8.
I'd never be a very good thief in D&D or any of these
Unfortunately,
games.
their hit points are very low. So if somebody
That is
snatches
one thing.
it up,
I've just
you're
never
going
been a
fast.
very good thief in these games. I'd always seek all
Oh,
these
here's a
thieving
pirate for
skills.
you.
Yeah,
The Gal Sea Rogue.
yeah, that would probably be about right.
Yeah, they're just like you said, they're straight up they live on the ocean, they're outcasts and criminals they live on the Isle of Gaudin, which was a penal colony during the ancient Phaedron dynasty. And almost all Gal are mixed background. So, you might be part Armenian, part whatever, but it doesn't matter. You're some kind of human.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're pirates.
Yeah, James, do you have any advice for people who would like to play a thief but are always too afraid to actually use any of the skills that thieves would?
You mean because of like maybe they're afraid of the complication?
Maybe complication or just afraid of getting caught.
Gargo bodyguard. And then there's the Dern Gnomekin Crystalmancer, which is
Oh,
a gnomekin are small, and if they go above where the suns are, they have to wear amber cusps over their eyes so
yeah,
they can see. Otherwise,
yeah.
they'd be basically blind.
I
But
remember you
this
talking about
guy
those.
has a type of magic that is specifically revolves around crystals. But anyway, so yeah, there's the player's handbook. Now you can't get this for free yet, like all the other Talislanta stuff, but you can get the PDFs pretty cheap if you don't want to invest in hardbacks.
Let's just face it, Talislanta is really easy because you can get most of it for free anyway.
Yeah, you can get really, you don't need to buy the Ultimate Edition. It's called the Ultimate Edition for a reason.
It's a fan thing. If you really like
it's the Ultimate Edition. It's the edition that the creators spent the most money making. And they made sure that every single thing would be as high quality as possible. Every piece of art would be as good as possible. And like I showed you guys, it came with a map, of the city and the continent. It come with rules that used to be in other books. So they've kind of, like all the Windship stuff, there used to be another book all about that. And they've kind of thrown it in this.
Yeah.
So this is the book that the hack that created Eberron ripped off when he was trying to create Eberron.
I could
but
see
he
it.
didn't have the balls to actually go all in.
I always hated Eberron.
Well,
Seriously.
then I don't know how you'd feel about Talislanta, because while Talislanta does not got the modern feel that Eberron sometimes does, magic is not uncommon. I mean, It's like every fourth person you run into is going to be a mage of some sort.
I don't think I hate the idea of Magitech. It's more just Eberron seemed terrible to me.
Well, because the guy who ripped off this game, he ripped it off, and then he tried to make it D&D with all the D&D races and
Heck,
everything and classes,
one of my
and it
favorite
didn't work.
games. One of my favorite games had Magitech in it.
Which is,
Final Fantasy VI.
oh well, Final Fantasy, you never know what the hell's going on with that shit.
No, it changes crazily
It's
between
like
games.
you got a guy with a giant pistol sword and another guy with like a giant bionic arm, and
I didn't like 8.
mages
7
summoning
was
like,
fine.
towers of fire down from the sky.
6 was probably the best.
I played
Really
Final
like.
Fantasy.
I liked Final Fantasy 6. It's my favorite Final Fantasy game.
I didn't play 6. I played the one that's online. I think it's 7 or
No, that's
14.
14.
14. Yeah, I have a elf spear fighter.
14, and then there was also 9. That was also an MMO, but I think they've taken that down now.
14 is kicking ass from what I understand. Like the viewership or the
There was
subscription numbers are like doing great.
Yeah, they kind of went really well whenever they did the whole Realm Reborn stuff, where they basically rebooted the game.
Well, Asmongold did a whole video, and he was talking about how Final Fantasy 14 had more concurrent players on when he looked than World of Warcraft.
Yeah, well, WoW has been going on a big downhill.
So he was all like,
for a while.
how everybody's always talking about the WoW killer. He's like, well, a lot of WoW players are going to Final Fantasy because
the WoW killer was WoW.
Yeah, the WoW killer was the WoW people.
I wouldn't say people. I just say the developers of WoW, which they don't know how to
Well, they
run
got
the
rid
game.
of Grom. They hired a bunch of DEI people.
Yeah.
And then the DEI people started doing shit, and then boom. I mean, it's the way gaming has gone. Like when they show a studio and the studio is like 90% fat purple-haired girls, the game they're making is going to suck. And some people might be like to me, James, that's one hell of a stereotype. Why would you be that way? And my answer would be like, it. Don't even bullshit around. That game is going to suck.
Yeah.
And it is going to suck because you're dealing with a bunch of ideological maniacs who don't actually give a shit about the game.
You see it from CD Projekt Red right now with the whole Witcher 4 game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, DEI killed The Witcher. The series, that was killed by DEI because Cavill kept bitching that they were changing the lore and whatever, and apparently it was pissing off the female they hired to run it. Which why would you hire a female with like basically no actual credits or anything to run your Witcher TV show? Because of like what I just said, to get those good boy points. And yeah, she just kept wanting to change shit. She kept wanting to make the female character in the story more important. Hey, what's up, Shadow? The best WoW you can play right now is free Turtle WoW on the private servers. I'll tell you what, I did play Warhammer Online on a private server, and it was amazing.
I never cared for WoW. I don't know. It was not my thing, I guess.
I never got a character in WoW above level 39.
Well, he got further than me.
I just, I tried to like it, but I just really couldn't.
I tried it. And it just I don't like it. It's terrible. I don't like the looks. I don't like the play style. I just hated it.
Yeah, and people can call me Shallow. Hey, Shadow, what is up, bro? How you doing? People can call me Shadow. They can call me Shadow, but then I'd be like, I'm not near as handsome as that guy. But shallow. But yes, the graphics, they don't got to be like realistic, but
No,
they do matter.
yeah, I want them to look at least good, at least in my opinion, good, I guess. And that's
Right,
what I didn't like about WoW. I didn't like the art style. It just, yeah,
right, right. Now, was it genius, the art style? It was genius because no matter how shitty your computer was, you could
you
play
could run
WoW.
it. Yeah, that's fair, and that's one thing which makes me think maybe it's better to try a good art style than actually go for ultra realism.
Oh yeah, yeah. You want an art style that's like iconic and not realistic, but still pretty to look at.
Yeah,
And then something like that just never ages. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But the wow thing was like, how can we get every character model down to the fewest polygons possible? And that was the whole art form. And the reason I say it's genius is because it made it where the computer's graphics requirements were nothing.
Yeah, well, I've been playing Kingdom Come Deliverance, not sure Echo.
Yeah, I saw that. You sent me a link. I saw that. What games have you gentlemen played recently?
Talk
Devarich,
now,
I have
too.
played Surviving Mars, which is like a strategy build a colony and try not to die on Mars.
And Five Hearts Under One Roof.
I have been trying to play Five Hearts Under One Roof and got my wife kind of interested in it.
She's probably gonna take it over. She's like, "Yeah, this is my game.
I
I
think
want to
if
play
I
it."
turned the computer on and just set it in front of her with the game running, yeah, she would. And it was so funny because she's like, "Well, I'm a woman, so I'll probably be able to do this better." And it's like, she did a little better, but it's like I don't think it has to do with being a man or a woman. It has to do with being Korean.
Or at least Asian. I don't know. I played some of these weird visual novel dating games, so I can kind of get through it a little bit better. It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like the thing you think, okay, things that would definitely piss an American woman off, those are the things you want to do with the Korean woman.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest shit. It's like
I'd look at
totally
these and I'd say, like, a woman would look at me like I'm fucking insane for saying any of these things. And that's what they want me to say.
right, Plus that one thing when you go to the freaking computer place to print out your resume and they give you the option to kiss the other dude.
It's like, why? What
And if you do kiss the other dude, it opens up like a whole thing where he wants to romance you.
which is weird. I mean, why would you even think about doing that?
And you spend the whole rest of the game trying to avoid his sausage party.
Oh God.
It's like, wait, what?
I'm kind of glad I didn't choose that one now. I was like, I almost want to
It's
see where
got
that's
like
going,
kiss,
but I don't
fight,
want to
talk
know
back,
either.
or say nothing. And the right thing is to talk back.
Yeah.
And tell him he's a piece of shit. He works at his dad's store, blah, blah, blah. And then you go and you get the job, which, is guaranteed. And then you get to hang out with the mean girl whose redeeming quality is she has huge, huge tits.
She's hot.
And she loves to show them off. Like everything she wears is super revealing.
Yeah. Or the
It's
time
like,
where you'll
oh my
have to
God,
get her some stockings.
Yeah. When she gets a tear in her stockings and she makes you go to the store to buy her stockings. It's like, wait, what? What am I doing? Why am I playing this game? I know why. I know why I'm playing the game. Asmongold got me into the game.
To be
Because I
fair,
was watching Asmongold play the game.
I didn't watch Asmongold, but I've been wanting to play it just because of the morbid curiosity type of stuff. It's
Oh
like,
no, I watched Asmongold play it for like 2 hours, and he was just cussing and carrying on, and it worked on me because you know how the mobile games, you always see the guy do like the stupidest shit and lose. You know, like the
yeah.
shooter game where you're fighting zombies or whatever.
Yeah, I
You
know
know
what
the
you're
ones
talking
I'm
about. And you're
talking
just like,
about?
well, this looks easy. I could easily do this.
Exactly. Exactly. The guy in the commercial is
Man, the mobile
absolutely
games are.
playing like a reject because they want you to think, well, I can do better than that.
And the sad part is, most of these mobile games aren't even like the thing that they show.
Right. So then you jump into the game thinking, I can do better than Asmongold did. It took him like 6 days to beat this game, right? And then you don't do better. You do worse.
I think I did
And
better,
you're
although
like,
I don't know.
well, how did this happen? How is it that I suck so bad? Because like the character you play is a complete loser.
I think I had a head start though, because again, I played a little bit of these weird Asian
Because you
dating
play
sim
weeb
games.
games anyway.
Oh God, it's weird. I only do it because it's sometimes funny, and maybe it's because I kind of get Japanese humor a little bit. It kind of makes me laugh.
I will say one thing about the Koreans in the game.
What's that?
They love to drink.
Oh yeah.
It's like every other second, they're like, let's go get some beer. Let's go get some wine. Let's go. I mean, all they want to do is get lit all the time. Just get drunk and party.
Well, if you lived in Korea, you would agree.
And I'll tell you the other thing too. The main character is like an idiot because if you replace the main character with like me, I would have banged half those Korean chicks for sure. You know, like when I was in my prime, that age,
I get
the main
that,
character is such a freaking loser. You know, it's just like, why are you such a loser?
and I'm
Why do you
crazy,
keep
so that
doing the
would never
worst
happen.
shit? It's like, how hard is it to be a little bit more smooth around these chicks? I mean, this chick right here just ran up and basically told you she wants to, you know, get
Marry
naked.
him.
And
Go
you're
with
all
that.
like, like, what is wrong with you? You know, the one girl kind of goes to undress in front of him and he turns around. He's like, oh my God.
Oh
It's
my
like,
God.
yeah, it's like, dude, why are you
Dude.
turning around? This chick is getting naked in your room in front of you. And you're acting like a complete spaz.
No, not your echo. This is five hearts under one roof.
5 hearts under one roof. I don't even know if it's a game. It's
It's
like,
more like an interactive video.
yeah, it's like an interactive movie where you get to like make choices and they have like, I guess, every kind of stereotypical Korean girl. So
Yeah,
you've
this is
got the
like,
one that's really shy but don't know much, and you've got kind of the bossy one, and then you've got the really sweet one that's convinced she's going to marry you. Then you've got like another bashful one. Anyway,
different type
whatever.
of bashful. Yeah.
Yeah, and so you're like running around doing their bidding.
I like how the one girl you talked about, the one from the cafe, the right answer was to tell her to become your chair.
Oh, in the bedroom? When she's
Yes.
like, let's look at the folder, the right answer is to try and make her your chair.
Yes.
That is so weird.
I
I never
know.
even thought of that. I just sat on the bed with her and looked through the photo album, which 2 of them are sisters.
Yep.
The tall one that I guess you want to be your chair is sisters to the short, cute one in by, who is the one that shows up out of the blue and just says, I'm here to get married to you. Because apparently when you were a little kid, she and you were friends and you promised to marry her when you grew up. So
That
she's
doesn't happen
back
a
from
lot.
university, and she's like, "What the f? I'm here to marry you."
Apparently, that's a very common thing for Japanese to do too. I don't know. That's weird.
Well, Korean, Japanese, Korea was conquered by Japan for like hundreds of years, so
Yeah, it's
so
really
obviously they
weird.
probably share some
It's really weird
cultural.
in Japanese too because they do that with their brothers and sisters. I'm like, what? That's weird.
Yeah, the
It's like,
Japanese have
what?
like really weird thing. They are strange. Like a common thing that you see in Japanese anime, and which kind of put me off of ever watching Japanese anime, is the little sister who's like obsessed with her older brother and does everything she can to make sure he never dates anyone.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
that's
That's
Sword Art
weird.
Online.
Oh,
And it's like, why are the Japanese so into,
Sword Art
this
Online. There
sort of
was a
shit?
lot of wrong with that.
Because,
One thing is, the game they made was just terrible. The main villain was just horrible. I mean, just like horrible in the bad sense of just being like unrealistically weird, like not very smart.
well, I'm
Like his
just
plan never
saying,
made
I'm
sense.
a hillbilly from Appalachia who is not above the idea of marrying a second cousin. And Japanese anime makes me uncomfortable as shit. Like, I'm like, no. Now, first cousin's right out of bounds. You might as well, marry your sister if you're going to marry a first cousin. That's crazy. But second cousin, if she's far enough removed, that's all right.
Maybe if she's not blood related.
Even if she is blood related, second cousin is so
Eh,
freaking far away. It's not like you would. As a matter of fact, Finland has an app when you meet people, you can check to see how related you are.
do
Not
they need
Finland,
that?
Iceland. It's not Finland, it's
Uh,
Iceland. I
okay,
misspoke.
for Iceland, that might make more sense because their community's pretty small, isn't it?
Yeah, their population is small, and they did studies showing that the offspring of second cousins tend to be the most viable offspring.
Huh.
Yeah, Icelandic scientists have figured out that having kids with your second cousin's cool. Knock yourself out.
I mean, for them, it might make sense because, I mean, again,
Well, you're at a bar, you walk over to an attractive girl, you're like, let me go talk to this chick, right? You're like, hey, how you doing? My name is, Ivar. What's your name? And then she tells you, and then you both look on the phone and you're like, oh shit, first cousins. Like, well, it was nice to meet you.
nice to meet my first cousin. Yes.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you. Catch you later, because we're too closely related. But then it might say like second cousin, third removed, blah blah blah, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, it's on. We can make this shit happen. In the Marine Corps, my Filipina and Vietnamese women. Yeah, Filipina.
Again, I would
My
say Rise.
cousin,
Sorry.
Jeff says, I recommend Rising of the Shield Hero for a better anime. With
It's
a
better early on, but later on, it just doesn't get that good. It really fails and
The
fumbles after a
only
little
two
bit.
anime I've watched recently that I've enjoyed at all is Freyrin
Freeman's
and
good.
Goblin Slayer Abridged.
Goblin Slayer's also good.
I mean, the normal Goblin Slayer is really good, but
Well,
Goblin
here's something.
Slayer Abridged is out of control.
Let me just say this. How would you like a military mecha anime?
If they did the mecha right, I probably would love it. I love mecha. You know that.
Well, there is Full Metal Panic, but that was a little bit weird. Also, how do you like weird Japanese slapstick comedy?
I don't know.
Again, this is a weird one because I would almost recommend it. I'd almost recommend Full Metal Panic. First season's very solid, but does have a little bit of slapstick Japanese comedy for high school.
Right.
The second season is more on the military side. Or well, no, the second season is actually full. I think the second season might be the full slapstick comedy school stuff. Third season you might really like then because it was the second raid, and that one was more military. And then the fourth one was really good, and I wish that they would make a fifth season now.
Now, I remember when I was young watching like Gundam 88 or something like that. And that was pretty cool. You know, they were fighting on like this jungle world, and the mechs didn't fly, they walked. And, it was like this whole war thing. And
That's one thing. The mechs don't fly in Full Metal Panic.
yeah, I don't like any anime about mechs where the mechs are flying around.
Although then again, you might not like the Lambda driver though.
Because, okay, a mech having a jump pack to make a short range jump, I'm okay with that. That's okay. But actually flying through space and destroying space fighters and shit, no.
How would you feel about weird tech magic?
Are you going to tell me about that one where they make dragons out of wood and shit?
No. It's more about Full Metal Panic's Lambda driver, where basically if a character is focused and like knows that it's a weird thing where it goes by what the pilot's, I guess you could say, physical will is, but they get basically an invincibility shield if their willpower's high enough.
I'm not opposed to a little psionics or whatever.
Well, then you might like Full Metal Panic then. That one was the weirdest part about it. And I mean, I'm like, okay. And it doesn't make the pilots overpowered because you can still beat a Lambda driver without one. It's just a lot harder.
Now, I mean, obviously, you guys all know that my favorite anime of all time is, catch you later, Mobius.
Yeah, see ya.
Berserk. Berserk is my favorite anime of all time.
Also, the interesting
And
part
I own the manga. So I own a lot of the collector's edition, leatherette, whatever style. They're kind of weird because they read backwards.
Yeah.
But they're in English, so whatever. And yeah, Berserk is definitely one of my top, not only anime manga type things, but just stories in general.
Not to mention the weirdest thing about Full Metal Panic is probably it's not a Japanese kid that you mainly follow. It's an Afghan kid.
Is it Afghanimation?
No, it's still Japanese animation, but the main character is like an Afghan kid who fought in like a war, who then became like a soldier of this like mercenary group.
Well, that's most Afghan kids.
Though the mercenary group is like this like altruistic good guy type of thing instead of
the Taliban.
Yeah, unlike the Taliban. And the thing is, it's weird because apparently it goes by an alternate world where instead of tanks, they had mechs. So, you know how the Soviets had like the T-34?
Yeah.
Instead, they had like this mech that they called the Savage.
Huh.
The Americans still had Shermans, but they were mechs instead of tanks. I haven't got to see that, but they have like it in the history or the lore, but they never shown one. Which I want to know what a Sherman looks like now.
Right.
But
I am using Japanese uniform yellow.
Oh, nice.
To paint the yellow parts of the ship.
That does look about right. That looks pretty good on there.
Yeah. Of all the paints I had, this was the one that I thought.
If anything, the Savage is what you would think a T-34 would be if it was a mech.
Just a big, kind of crude, get out there and tangle it up kind of thing.
Yeah, main character knows a lot about those because that's what he used a lot.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I know those. Know everything about them. Used to use them as a kid.
For those of you who got sucked in by the title about Talislanta, I was talking about receiving my player's book I'm sure half of you probably already got, PDFs. The Ultimate Edition, the art is beautiful and they've added things, but it's not needed. If you have any version of Talislanta, I mean, it's basically the same rules. So really all the Ultimate Edition is it's a series of books for like your true Talislanta aficionado, the kind of guy that loves Talislanta enough to Kickstarter a book just because the
Yeah,
art in
want
it's
it.
going to be awesome or
Yeah,
something.
that too.
But does it beat the shit out of 5e? Yes, it's a better game. And can you play pretty much anything you want or can imagine? Yeah. Japanese uniform to paint Japanese machine gun team. Well, yeah, that'll work. That's kind of what it's for, I guess, right? Are you building a Japanese army for bolt action, Shark? Have you told me about this and I'm just being forgetful?
Uh-uh.
He may have told me already what he was doing, and I was like, "Oh, cool," and then I totally
Forgot.
forgot. Yeah, because I got a lot on my mind at all times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thinking about a bunch of stuff. But yeah, I was going through some
Yeah.
stuff yesterday, cleaning the garage a little bit, and I found a box that had all of my Italians in it.
It's been snowing here.
Yeah, that's what Hungar said when he went up to my mom's, that it was snowing pretty hard on the mountain. And it
Nothing
was
heavy, but
and it was
still.
sticking too. So you know how sometimes it'll snow, but it'll hit the ground and melt away.
Yeah.
Japanese Army to go along with my US Marines. Yeah, yeah.
That's cool.
That's what I do too a lot of times. I'll build the army I want to play, and then I'll build the opposite army in the hopes that I can talk someone to play the game with me and have both armies.
Another weird anime you might like.
Yeah.
Gate. I'm
What?
not sure though. Gate. It's a
I've
weird one.
seen it. I've
Oh,
seen it.
you've seen that
Hungar
one.
told me
Okay.
about it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I forgot.
That's the one where the Japanese Defense Force goes to a gate into a fantasy world.
Yeah, it's basically like propaganda for the JSDF, but I like it.
They kind of leave it like I was expecting a second season, and
Yeah, I know. But
I
no,
didn't
apparently it was
see
supposed to end that way. I don't know why.
it's like, okay, the guy's in the fantasy world and he's doing a bunch of shit and all that, but now what? It's like, what's
Like
going on?
it did seem like it ended on a cliffhanger because again, they didn't really resolve the part with the prince that took over the empire. They just kind of ended with like giving that one girl the crown through her dad
Yeah, I
without
really felt
resolving
like
that.
there should have been. I really feel like there should have been more to it,
Yeah,
but
but no, it's ended. It's not going to get another season. That's the weird thing.
and one I tried to watch was about this guy whose uncle had been in a coma for a long time.
I've seen that one, but I'd never
And
watched
then he
it.
woke up and all he could think about was like video game consoles and stuff. But then
I,
it turned out that he had magic.
if I found out that I went to another world, then came back, I don't think I'd care about video game consoles after that.
Yeah, that was like the only thing he cared about was like getting the newest Nintendo or PlayStation or whatever.
Like, forget that. No, I got magic. I can do this.
And then
Isn't
he
that cool?
remembered magic and he would use the magic for stupid shit. But then,
Oh, I
like, I
probably would
guess some
too.
woman that he was supposed to date or marry or something
Came
found
back
a
with them.
way from the fantasy world into the real world. And that started a thing.
I still feel like that would have ended poorly.
Gates continues in the manga. See, Yeah, but
Not what I heard. It sounds like they just kind of diverged and, well, had two different endings.
well, I mean, to me, it was just I thought it was interesting. A
It
gate
was
opens up in the middle of a city.
in Japan.
You know, starts spewing monsters, whatever.
And I mean, I guess it would end that way, even with Japanese self-defense
Like
forces. I mean,
what happens?
I don't think Japan really needed help with fighting off the fantasy world.
Not really. I mean, there is that one scene where they're battling at the castle or whatever, and like an attack helicopter comes over,
Yep.
just starts smoking like a dragon.
It's
It's
like,
like, yeah, we kind of
no,
passed
not
it.
dragons. Those were wyverns. And when they fought the dragon, they actually needed like jets to take it down.
Yeah, but you get what I'm saying, though. It's like,
Yeah.
I
It's like
understand you're a dragon, but I have, big missiles and big
anti-air
guns.
missiles. Just a bunch of anti-air missiles. That'll take you down.
Yeah, big missiles, big guns. So to me, you're just, big game,
Yeah.
right? You know,
Yeah.
all I gotta do is put the reticle on you and send a couple of 25 millimeter rounds your way. You'll probably be done.
Although I guess our anti-air missiles, I mean, modern anti-air missiles would be able to probably track and take down a dragon, to be fair. Our older ones would have had an issue because those were heat seekers, and I don't know if the dragon would have given off enough heat to actually a lock onable type of thing. I
Yeah,
don't know.
but
What do you think?
they have guided missiles too, though.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Older missiles usually went heat seeking, so I guess since now we wouldn't have an issue. Early on, that might have been an issue.
Yeah, because could it even lock on to a biological thing? I don't know. That's a good question.
But I
Left.
mean, again, we'd still have probably like something that could take it down with like machine guns.
That's what I'm saying. Even if the jet couldn't like lock on with the missile, depending on what kind of jet it is, like an F-15 has like a 20 something millimeter chain gun
Or
built
just
in.
take an A10 Warthog. A10 Warthog could take it down.
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, that thing comes flying over looking all slow
30 millimeter
and
Gal
then
machine gun.
rips ass and everything dies.
Isn't that machine gun so strong it actually slows the plane down?
The machine gun which machine gun's not the proper term since it's a chain gun, but
Yeah, true.
it is so powerful that if the gunner or the pilot holds the trigger down too long, um, it can cause the plane to stop. And basically, then you've got to pull it up from a stall.
Yeah. To be fair, still not the worst because there was a jet that the Soviets made that actually had a gun so powerful it would actually damage the plane that shot it.
Well, that doesn't seem un-Soviet. I mean, did the Soviets put a gun way too powerful for the fuselage of the airplane? Yeah, that sounds like some shit they would do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like they cared too much about the people. They're like, stick a pilot in it, see what happens. You know what I mean?
I think that was the Tupolev, which had some issues too and was hilarious. I'm talking about the supersonic booze carrier, though.
Yeah.
Oh man, what was that? The Tu-22 or something like that?
Some idiots, I guess, were protesting at an Air Force base and threw paint on an SR-71. So the SR-71 could not make its flight. So the government charged them $50,000 because that's how much it costs to hire the people to come in to clean the paint off of it. And the reason is the SR-71,
Oh yeah.
when it's sitting on the ground, the panels are loose. because it goes so fast that the panels heat up, and that's when they're actually perfectly sealed.
Yeah,
And the
yeah, that's
paint
true.
could have got in the way of that happening and caused the thing to, crash. So yeah.
Well, the idiot shouldn't do that.
Yeah. People who have been like on the ground when an SR-71 is going to take off, they say it sounds like a sack full of beer cans because all the plates are rattling. But
Yeah,
then as soon as it gets up in the air and it starts going fast, all those plates expand just enough to
seal it up.
lock in. And now you're going so fast you can outrun most enemy anti-air missiles that exist. I mean, that thing can go
Oh,
into space. The
yep.
problem is it just couldn't come back.
Yeah. How fast does that thing go again? I can't remember.
Oh, it's like well up into the Mach somethings. I mean, it's fast.
Yeah.
I know that back in the Cold War, they say the Soviets actually shot an anti-aircraft missile at it, and it just outran it.
Oh, of course.
The guy just was like, no, just hit the engines and was like, catch you later.
I heard about one of them actually crashing, and it's terrifying to think about how bad that got have been.
F-15 Eagle is probably my favorite of all time fighter. And for the longest time, it was the only fighter aircraft that could actually gain speed in a vertical climb.
What's your favorite plane looks wise?
Oh, you know what? I can't help it but love the Phantom.
Oh man, yeah, you and me both. That probably is my favorite looks wise.
I don't know what it is about that long, weird-nosed bastard, but
I think it's more of the wings for me. I like how they are designed.
yeah, there's just something about the looks of the F4 that it's just so cool, you know?
That's one thing. Also, why is it called the Phantom 2? Was there a Phantom 1?
I don't know.
That was the weird thing because I looked at that. I always thought that it was just a Phantom, but apparently, whenever I see the designation, it's always the Phantom 2, and I'm like, I don't remember seeing a Phantom 1. Where is it?
I wonder if that has to do with the fact that originally um, the Phantom was designed not to have a gun.
Oh,
But then
maybe.
after missions in Vietnam, they realized that was really stupid.
Yeah, they weren't exactly ready for just missile only combat.
Right. Because they were dealing with like Soviet MiG 17s, MiG 19s, the occasional MiG 21. So, I mean, the MiG 17 and MiG 19, not only are they super small and maneuverable, but much slower than a Phantom, they don't even have missiles.
Yeah.
They have a 20 millimeter cannon. So they're just trying to get up on you, right?
Yep.
So the problem with the Phantom is it only had like 6 missiles, maybe 8, I forget.
Not many, but still,
So
yeah.
if it got involved in like a big dogfight with a lot of enemy craft,
You would need guns.
if it ran out of missiles, it had to just bail out and go home. That was the thing. Is like,
Yep.
okay, done. I gotta go home. I can't do anything. And there was a mission in Chuck Yeager's flight simulator called Oyster One. And the whole thing was the call sign of the guy. It was a real mission over Vietnam, was Oyster One. And he got tangled up with a bunch of aircrafts. So you have to do the best you can and then bug out, escape, get back to your base,
Yeah, friendly territory.
And
Yeah.
it's hard because you have no machine guns. So when you fire off that last missile, you are done
You
as
are
far
out.
as being offensive. So the best thing you can do is just try to outrun the enemy jets. But the problem is the MiG-21 is very fast too. So,
Yeah. Which one was
yeah,
that?
I don't think it could fly over the Russian land now. I mean, that new missile the Russians got that can supposedly go like Mach 25.
I mean,
That's kind of a game changer because
maybe, maybe
nothing.
not. Who knows?
No, we know. They launched one full of dummy warheads at a freaking Ukrainian held town just to show them they could.
Ah,
And the thing holds like 8 warheads.
8
So what
warheads.
happens is it goes at like Mach 25. And then when the warheads deploy, they go even faster. And
Wouldn't the warhead slow it down though? I mean, you're putting mass on it.
no, it's designed to do that. That's what it's designed to do. It's the Oshkosh or whatever they call it. It flies fully loaded Mach 25.
Okay then.
And then when it unleashes the warheads, they fly even faster.
Oh, okay. It's kind of like having a 2-stage rocket. Okay.
Yeah, it's an ICBM. It's what it was designed for.
Yeah.
Shooting nukes across the ocean. But it turns out they can shoot them closer than that. And they did shoot one into a Ukrainian held town, but it had all dummy warheads. So that picture you might have saw that shows like it's nighttime and all of a sudden you see like white lights coming down.
That was that. I didn't
That
see
was
that
that.
picture, but yeah.
And the thing is, at least as far as most people know, no nation in the West has any air defense that can stop it because it's moving too fast. So, like a Patriot missile or any of that bullshit, by the time that thing beeps on the radar, it's already hit you. You know, but the Russians have for the last umpteen many years, they have been devoting like shit tons of research towards missile technology and
Makes sense.
hypersonics. So it turns out, hate to say this, really as an American, that the Russian Federation is probably 10 years ahead of us in missile technology, not in everything.
No,
But when it
it's
comes to
mainly probably
missiles,
missile technology.
yeah, when it comes to missiles, those guys know what the hell they're up to. You know what I mean? They've got missiles that can make a 90-degree turn in air. And then, of course, they've been working on hypersonic missiles because, which some people are saying, if the hypersonic missile
Heck, I mean,
becomes a thing, then it basically makes aircraft carrier groups completely untenable.
I'd probably say
Because,
Germany was probably about 10 years ahead of everyone with missile technology or
well,
rocket
they
technology
invented it, but
in World War II.
right, they invented it. But
Though,
because if
to
you
be
have a
fair,
land-based area, right, that's got a
yeah.
bunch of these hypersonic missiles on it, if they detect your fleet, they can basically just kill it at will. So then any kind of big surface ship becomes a liability, you know,
Yeah.
because it's just a target out in the ocean and it can't even defend itself from these things.
Oh,
So,
James, we'll just bring back the slam.
right.
You know what the slam was, right?
Uh-uh.
Oh, it was a weird a new nuke missile that we had that would go very low altitude, irradiate everything around it, and like have like 20 nuke warheads on it.
Man.
Yeah, it was a terrible idea, but funny that we even decided to make this or
Like the
come
Tsar
up with this
bomb.
idea. It was probably worse than the Tsar bomb by far. This thing was supposed to fly around in Russia and just like lay waste to all Russian cities while irradiating everything in between its target and where we launch it.
So it was basically just a giant moving dirty bomb.
Pretty
Not
much.
sure. Russia, China, and U.S. all have missiles that can reach Mach 5. Not sure about India. Yeah, according to what the Russian stuff is
Oh,
saying,
Vic's in.
Victor, their new missile does Mach 25. So 5 times that.
Hey, Vic.
Hey, how you doing?
And then when it releases the MIRVs are actually moving faster than Mach 25. So there's like no way to defend against them. And the Russians shot one into, part of Ukraine just to show off the thing. It was
Well,
like they didn't even like put warheads or anything on it.
with the F-22, it's a full designated fighter, like with modern stealth technology. I could see it beating the F-15 in a
Oh
direct
man.
fight.
I mean, I don't want to talk bad about my beautiful.
Hey, look, it's just about
F-15
what they
Eagle.
can do. The F-15 is a better ground striker, while the F-22 is the quintessential stealth fighter. They do different roles, and that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing is, at one time, the F-15 was this air superiority fighter. It could lock on like 100 targets at the same time. And
Yeah, but you need the AWACS to do that kind of stuff. And they don't carry enough missiles anyways. So I mean, I was in the Navy. I read and studied up on all this stuff. I was an aviation electrician. You still need the AWACS. You got to have everything working in sync exactly perfectly, and it's complicated. It's not an easy thing. So,
And I think I prefer the F-16 looks-wise over the F-15.
well, the F-16 is about half the size.
Yeah.
It's a tiny little fighter jet. And a
I
lot
think
of
it looks
pilots
good,
have
though.
actually crashed them because they're not used to how maneuverable they are.
Well, there.
It's like you barely touch it and that thing jumps. You know what I mean? So how you doing today, Vic?
I still like the looks of the F-16.
oh, another day, another dollar.
Oh,
What can I say? I'm fielding a lot of calls since I've told WOTC to go kiss my ass. So,
Hey, Vic, where can I buy those cards that you've been talking about? I want
which
those
one?
cards.
The cursed ones, or
Yes.
the game Cutthroats and Thieves?
The curses.
I'm gonna put a Kickstarter up by Friday, and then
Okay.
you guys can buy it on there. So 208 of them, and if I keep selling more, or if I sell more than X number, I'm going to invent another package of them. I found a book of nifty little curses that I could add to it.
I was hoping for this for Christmas because I got somebody I would like to give this to.
Yeah.
There's a Russian creature that can curse a virgin woman, and it makes them very promiscuous.
Quit talking about yourself and what you did to your wife, James.
Oh.
Yeah, it's got a perineage, and it's basically the undead body of a fetus that died and was buried without proper rites. And it can control strong winds. It drinks blood, and it can curse a non-promiscuous woman and make her very promiscuous. So the only way to cure that would be you'd have to go to a holy man, a priest, and get that cured. But that does not exist in Talislanta. I was showing off the new Talislanta Player's Handbook. It showed up today, even though the other thing I did not show up.
Well, Shark, you're right on that.
A virgin woman that is very promiscuous won't be a virgin for long. I think that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Plus, these creatures, whether they're Polish or Russian, in Poland they're called like Lubovics. They tend to target their family first. when they rise. You know, it's like when they rise from the dead, the first bunch that are going to get it is, you know, the mother and the family. I mean, it's easy to handle. All you got to do is if you have a miscarriage or something like that. Short and Rusalka are known for cursing women. Yeah. Just make sure that the baby is buried with proper rites performed, and you don't have to worry about it. And if you ever encounter a redheaded woman, make sure she doesn't have two sets of teeth.
Well, I think I'm going to head off here. I'll see you, okay?
See you, man. Because if she's got two sets of teeth, it means that when she dies, she'll come back as a strigoi. And that won't be good.
So, James, got a question for you.
Answer for you.
All right. What do you think the odds that Elon Musk would even consider buying Hasbro?
I will say 50-50 because that's the safe answer.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's Elon Musk and he is a force of chaos in the universe. And you just never know what that guy's going to do.
Oh, yeah. Well,
you know, he's made in the last couple months enough money to buy Hasbro like 10 times over if he wanted to.
Well, and here's the thing too, is that if he bought it, it would be a temporary drain on his cash. Literally, it would be just a temporary small drain. I mean, he would only need to put. I was looking at the Hasbro's capital thing. I mean, it's $8-something million. So he might have to pump out $5 billion to buy enough stock. Turn around, split up the company so that you have WOTC on one hand and Hasbro on the other. Take the Hasbro into things, sell it off because you don't want to hold on to it unless the financials are right. Take WOTC, divide it into two, make it WOTC interactive and WOTC analog, you know, underneath the same umbrella. Interactive would be your electronics and games company, and then have the WOTC analog would be like Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that. And then bring in guys that actually know the game backwards and forwards and redo it so that it isn't going to go into the gutter as far as I'm concerned.
So basically fire everybody.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that's the first thing. He'll roll in and be like, all right, just start firing them and firing them and firing them until he gets down to the amount he feels like is the right amount.
Yeah. Bring in that sink, the kitchen sink, and toss them out with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was talking to Robillard, Rob Kuntz about it. Rob Kuntz said he'd be willing to be on the board of directors to help right up the ship, you know, free of charge. So, I mean, you know, it'll probably be one of the discussions tomorrow at Wesley's, but it's just sort of, you know, and then I posed the question today on Twitter, what would happen if Gary Gygax was still alive at this time? You know, what would WOTC be like then?
I think if Gygax was still alive, he would still be helping the Troll Lords make games. And they probably wouldn't have talked a bunch of shit about him in the 50th edition book or the 50-year anniversary book. Because they probably would have been worried about, you know, legal issues.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I think. But I mean, for the last however many years the dude was alive, he was working with Steve Chenault and crew over at Troll Lords, you know, just putting out.
Oh, if he was still alive and he was
Product.
back at TSR, I think Troll Lords would be the major competitor against WOTC. I think Castles and Crusades would be a force to be reckoned with. You know.
Honestly, it already is.
Yeah, but it's just not that popular. You know what I mean? It doesn't have the Gygax name behind it so much. But if Gary was over there as lead designer, that would
Right.
be a seismic shift. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. If you could, yeah, that's true. But I mean, he put out some good stuff when he was over there. He had the city book he did, which I have, is really, really kind of cool.
Uh-huh.
And he was involved with a lot of the work they were doing. So, good stuff. Good stuff.
Hey, Shark, I see your comment there about Elon fired 75% of his Twitter staff. I'm surprised it wasn't more. Truly, I am surprised it wasn't more that were fired at the Twitter staff.
He pretty much fired everybody who didn't directly work on the servers and shit. And one way that if everything goes the way they want it to go, is he's going to start forcing government workers to come into the office, since 80% of them work from home.
Mm-hmm.
And they figure a lot of them will just separate on their own, which will save him some time, because if they quit, then he don't got to fire them. So here is my schooner now, pretty much completely painted, except for the things that hold the rigging, which actually I need to paint the freaking whatever, the grated that goes down into the hull. And I don't know what color I'll paint it. I mean,
the hatch, you mean, to go into the hole? The hole?
Yeah. I mean, I could paint it red. I could paint it dark brown. Whatever. And then I've got cells for it to put on it. I need to finish this, but I just glued this on. And then I've got the cells to put on it. And then I'll probably glue the cannons down.
Mm-hmm. Not your
Yeah. Elon has got Twitter making money, and he hasn't even been in charge for a couple years yet.
Hey, not your money, not your Echo. People have been saying that Twitter's lost value. How? Value is in the eye of the beholder. You know what I mean? James could say Twitter's worth $60 billion. I could say it's worth $1 billion. It's company, you know what I mean? So I mean, that's up to the eye of the beholder or the buyer. I mean, James might want to buy a miniature off of somebody that's worth $1 to somebody else. To him, it's worth $30. I mean, price is subjective to the buyer. You know what I'm saying?
At this point, it was based on stock, and it was $47 billion.
Which you understand what I'm saying, James. It's all subjective.
I get what you're saying. Which Elon got together and then bought it, and he would have bought it. It was really overpriced because Elon offered a price that they couldn't refuse without the people in charge getting sued by their stockholders. That's what he did, because that's what Elon's do. He offered this price that if the guys in charge had turned it down, they would have had a stockholder revolt. You know what I mean? It would have been how dare you? Your job is to make money for us, and you just turned down this gigantic payday. We're going to sue you. And
if the Twitter board of directors decided to take a poison pill or something like that,
yeah,
they would have been in a stockholder lawsuit in no time. I mean,
they tried to take the poison pill.
Huh?
They tried to take the poison pill. They denied him at first, and then all of a sudden, all the stockholders were like, "Wait a minute!"
Right?
And it was like, so Elon just outplayed them all, and then immediately fired them all.
Hey,
put
so
their
that's
asses
your
out on the street.
responsibility as the owner of a company to make sure it's profitable.
Right. You have a legal obligation to make sure that the company makes as much money possible so that you can pay dividends to the stock owners. And what Elon mentioned was like too good of a deal to pass up. So he had them by the nuts, even though they wanted to resist. And then he played hard to get and was like, never mind. Because he was, I don't know, maybe trying to get them to see if they would drop the price. But they didn't. So then he bought it and he fired everybody. And now it's a profitable business. And what's even crazier is, unlike the past, right now, Twitter is almost 50-50 split between right and left leaning users.
I don't care. You know what I mean? I really don't care if it's right or left. It's a business that allows free speech. It allows more free speech than you can get on platforms that like Facebook or anything else.
That is the whole point of what I said, Vic.
Yeah.
Because when it was under the old management, it was 80-20. The only way you could be on Twitter if you were conservative is basically never say anything. Or they'd find a reason to ban you. So it was a giant echo chamber for Biden supporters. They banned Trump. Imagine that. Imagine being a social network and banning the sitting president. Right? Yeah. I mean...
Well, hey, our sitting president is such a wonderful guy. He helped his son out.
Oh, well, you know what? You know what he did wrong? Is he said he wouldn't.
Yeah.
That's what he did wrong. He lied. Because I don't think anyone is seriously not concerned. I don't think anyone's seriously surprised that this father did everything he could to keep his son from going to prison forever. But he lied about it so much. And it's like, but why would anybody be surprised? That's Biden. I mean, Biden had to drop out of a race a long time ago for lying. It's weird how society has drifted to the point that at one point, if they caught you lying, you had to drop out of the presidential race. And now, Talislanta is true, bro. You can get the PDF of the Ultimate Edition if you want. It's basically pretty much like every other edition of Talislanta, except this one is a lot more higher quality and it's full of like color pictures of everything. So when you're looking through the profiles, they're badass color art, and So pretty much it's just Talislanta, the premium edition. They call it the Ultimate Edition. But it still uses the same mathematics where, you add your skill and attribute bonus, roll a die 20, and hopefully roll high enough that you get success. Same here, because they sent me this, but I backed this level, and I also backed the highest level. So this arrived today, and I sent an email off to Sechi being like, hey, showing him the receipt, where he charged me. And I'm like, where is my 3 books in a slipcover and all that? Of course, the only book that I'm going to get that I really don't want to get is the 5th edition conversion book. Because I really don't feel like Talislanta is a game that really could be converted to 5th edition. I just don't think it could. But if I run a game of Talislanta in the future, first off, you guys will all know. And secondly, I'm going to have all of the characters come from the 9 kingdoms.
Here's something too about WOTC. Let's all get on the same page about this. They're intellectually and creatively stymied over there because they keep using all the old TSR stuff. And as far as I'm concerned, is that when you make a new edition, you should make brand new adventures. You know what I mean? They could have
Right.
sold so much more stuff if they would have just made better and more creative modules and stuff like that. So
Yeah, the problem is they don't have any creatives at TSR.
right.
Like somebody might say, well, Chris Perkins was an editor back in the day. He wasn't a creator.
Uh-huh.
And he drew some maps,
Woo!
you know. So the only really creative guy they had for a while is Mike Merles, and they ditched his ass because of him being too friendly with, Zach and frickin' the pundit. And when that came out, people lost their freaking minds, and they're like, how can you have this guy who's friends with fascists working for you? Blah, 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 blah. You know, right? But look at the people who are working. They don't even know who their customers are. You know, like the one idiot.
Well, that's what I was saying the other day. I was on Bloodworth, DM Bloodworth's thing, and I walk into a game store and I look at the tables, and my first edition game was more racially diverse than the 5e guys that were playing. So I'm like, where do they get off saying this old white guys are, Nazis and all that? You know what I mean? I'm saying
it's because it's all they can think of.
Right. They're shallow-minded.
They're shallow, stupid people. They're non-creative. They are, as Tolkien paraphrased, only capable of ruining things, not actually creating anything of beauty.
They're orcs.
And they hate, really, I think, personally, guys, that the thing with Wizards of the Coast is the people they've hired absolutely hate D&D. Maybe not on the the production side, like, where the people actually trying to make the books are. But the people in charge, this is like what's it all over again. Laura, whatever, And they had that woman running second edition, and she hated D&D and she hated gamers. And it's like, why would you put this woman in charge of the company when she hates the customers and the product? But they did, because they're stupid, because people are often stupid. Wizards of the Coast right now is full of stupid people whose claim to fame is standing on the shoulders of giants while spitting in their ears and talking shit. Because nothing they do is new. Nothing. Mm-hmm. Everything they do you can find in an AD&D book. Literally everything they do you can find in AD&D 1. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, you can find more, because how long did it take those assholes to realize that some people like playing domain play?
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing too, is
they didn't even have domain play.
Right. Here's the thing too, is that instead of doing all the holding your arms up and an X and all that other stuff, all they had to do is put in the forward of the book is this, and saying, this is theater of the mind, this is the imagination, and this is period era play, meaning period era whatever society you're dealing with. I just, where slavery was part of the norm. There was no women's lib. There was other, you know what I mean? They could say all those things, or just a couple of those things at the front of the book, and avoid this. Oh, you got to raise your hand or put your arms in an X and say, oh, I need to stop the play because you're getting too creepy or whatever. I read that.
If you are so mentally incapable of dealing with certain things, you should not play role-playing games. I worry that if you're that kind of person, you might be the kind of person that loses touch with reality. And so, yeah, you probably shouldn't be playing fantasy games. You should probably be doing anything else, like sitting in therapy with the doctor, discussing whatever it was that made you who you are now, and ways to fix it. You know, when you really think about it, there's no.
Yeah, Shark. We do not need Fahrenheit 451 or Orson Welles 1984 type game.
Well, that is kind of what they have slowly been doing, though. Like, which edition was it? Fourth, when they started saying that paladins didn't have to worship a god. They could just, or clerics, they could just get their power from some kind of oath, and the power comes from within, which is 100% just Gnosticism under another name.
Hey, Shark, I'm going to just say Shark here. You know, I've written one module called the Keep Up Blood Red Falls. It's just a scenario. That's all they are. I mean, a module is basically a scenario for play. You make a setting, you populate some rooms, you throw in some treasure, you test play it a few times at conventions, and boom, you've got yourself a module, basically. I mean, if you don't test play it, then and you just throw it out there for consumption by the general public, then it's just a homebrew, whatever, So
yeah, the test play is definitely important because
it's vital because you know what? You want to have experienced players trying to punch holes in whatever you've made.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You want to have people, fresh set eyes, that are going to look at whatever it is you thought was the best thing ever and be like, well, actually, this part's not so great. And then you might rethink,
Oh, I'm going to tell you what. I went through, when I went make Keep Up Blood Red Falls, I went back through the module like 7 times and pulled things out, put things in, put little tiny tricks in to throw off the players purposely, because I've read through most of the modules that TSR had, and I'm like, I need something new in these modules that the players have never seen before to trip them up. Because if I just left it the way it is, they just be out murder hobos and go room to room to room and kill everything. You know what I mean? And it wouldn't be any fun. It'd be a bore for the dungeon master, Well, when I put in little tricks and stuff like that, now it's gotten infinitely harder, and they've got to figure it out. So
yeah.
Your wife calling you, telling you need food?
Yeah. You can see me looking. So I'm going to log off and go see what she's got going on. I think
right.
she might need my help.
Everybody, have a good night. We'll try this again another day.
Peace and love. Dias Volt.